Hey, everybody, welcome. This is Jason Clemens, Doctor of Chiropractic at the Rock Health and Wellness Center, and this is Life with Jason Clemens, DC. We are live right here from the Rock Health and Wellness Center studios in Lubbock, Texas. We're on 98.7 Walk by Faith, 1420 AM, 987radio.com. We're on social media tonight, and we've had a good day at the Rock. I hope all you guys have had a good day. If you're listening to us on the radio, and you want to go back later if we have anything that we're showing you and you want to check that out, then you can check it out at the Walk by Faith Facebook page. You can go to the Rock Health and Wellness Center's Facebook page. You can go to @Health from the Rock. It's the @ @Health from the Rock on YouTube, or you can check us out on Jason Clemens DC on X. So that's where we're streaming on all of these on social media platforms. So hope you guys had a good day, and I hope last night's show, we got in the second half of the show, we got into an article, and we're gonna finish that article tonight. We're gonna get into that and keep going with it. So it's about some natural ways that you can control your pain, some anti-inflammatories, pain control that are not steroids, and they're not non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, because those things have some side effects that you might not want. So we're trying to find some things for you that you might want, and I think we'll get into that pretty good, and we'll show you that. So before we get into that tonight, I'm going to share with you my blood work. I got my blood work back this morning, and I've been, I try to be as transparent as I can on this show about the things that we're doing. Do they matter? Like, do they actually, is there any evidence that this stuff actually can help you? And I try to use my information as much as I can to try to share with you and say, hey, look, if you're dealing with diabetes, let me show you what you can do to deal with diabetes. If you're dealing with heart disease, let me show you what you can do to deal with heart disease. If you're dealing with thyroid problems, or you've got low testosterone, or any of those things, the things that we talk about on the show, these things are things that you can implement in your life, and you can make your life better. And so and I've implemented, as far as exercise and nutrition, I've implemented these things, pretty consistently since 2019, but very, very strictly for the last 3 years. And decided when I quit this, when I quit sugar and quit almost all refined foods about 3 years ago, it's made a difference, and I just want to show it to you tonight. So that's what that's about. So we'll get into that, in just a second. Conversations that we had today, that we had in the office. First of all, I just got here. I went over and listened to Dr. Michael Dunn. He's a eye doctor here in town. He was speaking across the street over at the Wise Group that I get to speak to sometimes. That's the Lake Ridge Chapel Memorial Designers, the funeral home across the street. They have a fantastic program for it. Wisdom-inspired senior education is what they call it. And they invite speakers in. I get to speak. Dr. Dunn gets to speak. They do Tai Chi as one of them. They have police officers come in and speak. There's financial people that come in to speak. It's a really good program that they do over there. It's free of charge. You just can call the funeral home, or you can go to I think there's a Facebook site or a website, Wise, that you can go to at Lake Ridge Memorial Designers. And if you're older, if you're over 65, you need a social group to get into. You don't have much social activity there. It's really fun. Like those people, they're really neat. And then they'll have a speaker come in. The speaker will speak, and then afterwards they have some snacks and stuff. Charcuterie, I think, is a word that I've learned just recently as an adult. And they even have, sometimes they have some wine and beer over there. It's kind of a cool place. Get to visit, get to see each other. That's where I was right before I came over here. Dr. Dunn was talking about low vision. So I thought I'd go over there and listen to him for a few minutes, and then come over here and see this. And so that's what I did. I had a few good conversations today. One of them was about subluxation. I've got a young future chiropractor that's working with me. she's here until just basically the summer, maybe early fall, and then she's going to be moving to Dallas. She's already in chiropractic school. She's doing it online, and then she's going to get started with her hands-on stuff later on next year. So she's come to work here, and we were having a conversation about subluxation, and I just made her understand a little bit about its interference in your nervous system. Where do you have interference in your nervous system, and what do you do about that? That was one of the big conversations that we had today, and I thought it was cool. I'm not going to break it down completely tonight, but just remember, physical, chemical, and mental emotional stress causes interference in your nervous system, which we call subluxation in chiropractic. And subluxation interferes with the way that your body functions. And so our job as chiropractors is to detect and correct subluxations. I don't know if it was real or not because I haven't had a chance to double check it, but I did listen to Robert Kennedy Jr. have a comment today. I think it was today. He made he had a big long, I don't know, couple minute talk about chiropractic and how he has benefited from chiropractic care, how chiropractors have fought against the establishment for a long time, how the Children's Defense Fund, their main source, of support comes from the chiropractors. And so I thought that was pretty cool. I thought it was pretty cool of him to say that. And that's what we've been doing for 20 years now at The Rock. I'm in my 21st year of doing that, 25th year of chiropractic care. And so it's kind of cool to see it on a national stage for someone of that caliber to say, hey, look, this stuff it's good stuff. So if you haven't tried it, what we're doing is we're trying to figure out where do you have interference in your nervous system, get rid of that interference, and then let your body heal itself. So let's get into this. So what is one of the things that you could consider to be interference in your nervous system? Well, your nutrition. So if we were to go through here, and I'm not doing any of this to in any way, I'm not trying to brag about anything. I'm not trying, that's not what this is about. What this is about is being transparent, saying, hey, look, like, here's the things that you should eat. That's what we talk about. Meat and vegetables, nuts and berries, a little bit of fruit, no sugar. Don't do it, right? If you'll follow that pathway, what will that do for your body? What will it do? And people will make up all excuses and they'll say, well, I couldn't, and all this sort of thing. They'll make up all the excuses and they'll come up with all the reasons, but look, you can do it. I'm not that spectacular, to tell you the truth. I'm not that super disciplined, and I'm not that super intelligent. I'm simply a guy that says, okay, I finally get it. It took me a long time to get it. It took me lots of study to get it. But finally, I got it, and I've cleaned it up, and now we're in the third year. I shared with you all of my blood work from last time, so I thought I would just do that. So let's start it right here. Hemoglobin A1C. So that is a 3-month running total of your blood sugar. That's the frosted flakes. That's the difference between corn flakes and frosted flakes, which is a bad example if you're trying to talk about blood sugar. I get it. It's not the best example. But the difference, if you have frosted flake, if you have corn flakes, you know that you don't have any sugar on them, right? There's no sugar on top of that corn flake. But if you were to add sugar over a period of time to your corn flakes, and then it dried up, it would look just like a frosted flake, right? You'd have a corn flake covered in sugar. That's basically what hemoglobin A1C is. Hemoglobin A1C is a 3-month measurement of how much sugar has stuck to your red blood cells. And what they're looking for, what is on pretty much all numbers, is anything that's below 5.7. If it's below 5.7, you're considered in good shape. If you get above 5.7, it'll go up a little ways, and then you're pre-diabetic. And then if you get, I don't know exactly what the number is. Let me see if I can look it up. I was looking it up earlier today. Um, and what would be considered the bad number. The end range is, anything below 5.7. 5.7 to 6.4, you're pre-diabetic. Anything over 6.4, and now you start you've got diabetes. And you don't have to have diabetes. You don't have to have type 2 diabetes. Don't let anybody trick you on that. You don't have to have type 2 diabetes. My hemoglobin A1C is 5.3. And it's 5.3 because I don't hardly eat any sugar. The only sugar I get is from fruit or honey occasionally. That's the only sugar I'm getting. I'm not eating any sugar. And so this 5.3 is a number that is pretty good. It's a good number. It's below 5.6, 5.7. So I'm not going to have a problem with diabetes. I'm not in the diabetes realm. I don't have to worry about getting diabetes. And you may know your hemoglobin A1C number. You may have checked it before. You may be in the 6s. You may be in the 7s. I got patients that are in the 12s and 14s on hemoglobin A1C. And how do you get that? How do you get a 7, 8, 9, 10 score of hemoglobin A1C? You increase your sugar intake over a 3-month period of time. And then you just keep running that and keep running that and keep running that. And that's where you'll get to. So if you want to decrease your hemoglobin A1C, then stop eating sugar. And I know it's like, okay, well, I'm a sugarholic. Okay, you see what I mean? It's like all of this stuff fits together. All of it fits together, and it just keeps wrapping itself back around each other. Why do you eat sugar? Because you're missing dopamine in your left hemisphere. Period. That's it. Period. Otherwise, you wouldn't be addicted to sugar. You wouldn't be addicted to alcohol. You wouldn't be addicted to pornography. You wouldn't be addicted to anything that's a driving type of mechanism for dopamine. You wouldn't need the sweet tooth. There's no such thing as a sweet tooth anyway, right? You don't have a sweet tooth. You have a neurology in your brain that is telling you to eat the sugar. That's the only reason a person eats sugar. And we've broken that down, right? So if your A1C is 6 something or 7 something or 8 something, it's an indicator to me that your left hemisphere is not getting enough dopamine. That's the truth. That's the truth. And so if you want to get that down, then we drive that system. We drive that system and we increase the internal dopamine that you're getting, and we make sure that the right hemisphere and the left hemisphere of your brain is functioning better. Because, okay, what are they going to do with you if you go and you're at 7.5? If your hemoglobin A1C is 7.5 and you go to your doctor, what is your doctor going to give you? Metformin, right? They're going to give you a medication that jams up your mitochondria, that kills the ATP, that stops the ATP production in your liver, so that your mitochondria in your liver get damaged and clogged up, so that your liver won't dump any more sugar into your bloodstream. And then that's the way they're going to solve your hemoglobin A1C problem, your diabetic problem, right? They're going to tell you that the only option you got is to get your blood sugar down. And the way you got to do it is you got to get your liver to quit kicking out the sugar. And it's like, wait a minute, just a second. Where's the majority of sugar coming from? It's coming in your mouth. Like, the majority of sugar is getting into your body through your mouth. It's not getting into your body through your liver. The liver is the secondary problem. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm saying that it's a secondary problem to what's going on with your diet, right? So you can control your hemoglobin A1C. You can control it by decreasing the amount of sugar that you get, and you can decrease your craving for sugar by driving your neurological pathways properly. And the number one way you can do that is to be social And the number 2 way you can do that is to move your feet. You do not need to even come get adjusted. I'm not selling you anything, right? I'm simply telling you, being social and moving your feet will help the brain operate better. And if the brain operates better, you'll eat less sugar. And if you eat less sugar, then your hemoglobin A1C will go down. Okay? All right, we'll move on to off of that. The rest of this stuff, everything's falling within normal limits. I got to come back and check a couple of these numbers that didn't give us, but everything so far is going through normal limits. Here's testosterone, right? And I'm not even a testosterone measuring guy, right? So this is something that is not even, I don't even know for sure what that number is, but you know how I feel about low testosterone, right? Low testosterone is right hemisphere activation. It doesn't have anything to do with anything else. It's like your brain's not functioning properly. So my testosterone level is 568. It says that the normal is between 300 and 890. And I looked it up and a couple different charts today where the testosterone is for a 54-year-old guy, and I'm in good shape. I don't have low T. I don't have low T. And I have patients come in that are 54 years old or 50 years old or 45 years old or 38 years old, and they've got low T. And they're like, what is their solution to low T? Well, I should get pellets stuck in my glute, and then I can increase my testosterone. And it's like, well, why is your testosterone low in the first place? It's low in the first place because your brain's not working properly. And because, all right, hang on just a second. Oh, you guys, I know it's like, you're thinking, what is he talking about? Yep. Okay. Yeah, I know what he's talking about because I've been listening to him. Right side and left side brain. How many times have we drawn this? Right side brain, left side brain. Okay. Information traveling up and to the right, over to the left. That's what's got to happen in order to keep your brain functioning properly. If that happens, then you're going to balance your brain, and when you balance your brain, your body's going to balance. So where do we let's go back to hemoglobin A1C. What's happening? We're not getting that. We're not getting the right side to left side activation to drive what? To drive the dopamine in the left hemisphere. So what do we have? We have low dopamine in the left hemisphere. If we have low dopamine in the left hemisphere, we don't have any motivation. There's no reason to live. I don't even have to. What's the point of life? We're just floating around on a big old rock. Hell, we're all going to die anyway. We might as well just shut it down, right? Just have a beer. Like you guys, when you're going to die anyway, you might as well just have a beer. Just let's go get an ice cream. I said, if we don't go get an ice cream, what is this? What's the value in this day? How do we even have any value in this day if we're not going to go get an ice cream this evening? Like we're not even going to have any cookies at the house. Like it's like well, daggum. Like we can't even eat a cookie. Are you kidding me? Well, if I can't eat a cookie, then I might as well just shut the whole thing down because what difference does it make? Have you guys said those sentences to yourself before? I have. Not the beer part, but the rest of it. It's like daggum. If we can't have a cookie, then what's the point of living? Why would I say that? The only reason I would say that is because I have low dopamine. That's the only reason. And if I have low dopamine, and then I'm going to go have an ice cream, I'm going to go get a Blizzard, I'm going to go down there and get a custard, and I'm going to have the yellow cake with the chocolate on it, and we're going to make the Reese's peanut butter cups and put them inside the peanut butter, the slice and bake peanut butter dough, and make that little Reese's cup. Yeah, I've been to crumble cookies plenty of time, right? I'm going to do all that stuff. And then what is that going to do for my HA1C? It's going to drive it up, which means I got a bunch of sugar in my bloodstream. And when I got a bunch of sugar in my bloodstream, it pokes holes in my blood vessels. And if I have a bunch of sugar in my bloodstream that's poking holes in my blood vessels, what's going to happen to my HDL, my LDL, and my triglycerides? Right? My LDL is going to go up, my triglycerides are going to go up, my HDLs are going to go down. That's what's going to happen if I'm in this scenario. Now, if I am in this scenario and I'm not getting this crossing of this internal dopamine driving situation, then what's going to happen in the right hemisphere of my brain? It's going to be driven up because I'm getting the power to my right side, but I'm not getting the power out of my right side. So what's going to go up when that happens? Anxiety. And when an anxiety goes up, what's going to happen to testosterone? It's going to go down because I'm not going to reproduce in the middle of a tiger fight. Y'all get that, right? You're not going to do that, right? That's where we are so far on the blood test. Just on the blood test, we're looking at what's going on in the brain. It's like, wait a minute. You're telling me that my A1C is high because my left hemisphere is not working, and you're telling me that my testosterone is low because my right hemisphere is overworking, and I'm telling you that's exactly right. That's what's happening inside your brain. You got too much stress over here in your brain, and so all the things that are related to the stress response are going to be decreased, and all the things that are related to the left hemisphere not having enough power are going to be off as well. Okay? With me? Just off a blood test, right? So, we'll come back over here. Testosterone's 568, all right? Sex hormone binding globulin, 52.8. It's got to be somewhere between 19.3 and 76.4. And calculated free testosterone is 89.1. It's got to be somewhere between 47 and 244. So all that's good. All right. PSA, my prostate. How's my prostate doing? How many other people come on the radio and on the whole globe and tell everybody how their prostate's doing? Okay, it has to be below 4.0 and it's 0.57. Okay, not in trouble with that. All right, let's go look at thyroid stimulating hormone. What's going on with thyroid stimulating hormone? It's got to be between 0.40 and 4.1, and it's 1.08. So it's within normal limits, thyroid stimulating hormone. I didn't get all of the other free, the T3, the T4. I didn't break all that stuff down. Just looked at that right there. It was on this particular panel. And so far, everything is good with that. All right, let's look at the lipid panel. So now let's look at the cholesterol. Let's look at what are our numbers, right? Total cholesterol, 183. What's it supposed to be? Less than 200. Okay, we're in good shape with that. Triglycerides, 41. Last time my triglycerides were 44, I think. Now my triglycerides are 41. They have to be less than 150. HDL cholesterol is 50. It needs to be greater than 39. This calculated LDL cholesterol number is high. It's 121. It's over 100, but there's pattern A and there's pattern B cholesterol. There's LDL, pattern A, and pattern B. Pattern A is large buoyant cholesterol that floats through the bloodstream that doesn't cause any trouble, and pattern B is small, dense. And how do you know which one you have? According to Dr. Lustig, and you can go to my website, therockhealthandwellness.com, and you can listen to Sugar the Bitter Truth, or you can go to YouTube, listen to Sugar the Bitter Truth. He'll break down the whole thing for you between type A and type B cholesterol. How do I know? It's red, it's outside of normal limits, and it's high. Should I be worried about that? No. Why? Because if you have low triglycerides and high HDLs, then you have type A LDL, and they just float around in your bloodstream, and they don't cause any trouble. It's the opposite that's the problem. What are your triglycerides? Your triglycerides are high. If you may be great. Your triglycerides may be great, right? But if you have high triglycerides, why do you have that? What's the mechanism? What is going on with that? Let's go back over here to our chart. Right? Okay, so if our dopamine's not working and we're eating too much sugar, then we're knocking holes in our blood vessel. What patches holes in our blood vessel? LDL. LDL patches the holes. So if you have more holes in your blood vessels, you're going to patch the holes, is your LDL going to go up or down? Your LDL is going to go up, right? If what carries your LDL? Your triglycerides. So if you've got a bunch of holes in your blood vessels and your body's trying to patch that, then where are your triglycerides going to go? Your triglycerides are going to go up, right? Then what brings all of that back to the liver? The HDL. The HDL brings it back to the liver. So if the HDL has plenty of patch out there, then you don't have to have very many HDLs. So what's going to go on with your HDL? It's going to go down. That's what's going to happen when you're eating too much carbohydrate. That's putting holes in your blood vessel, and your body, your innate intelligence, is going to try to get that corrected by pushing all those numbers in that direction. We got to take a break, but when we get back, we'll finish those thoughts, and I'll show you what the opposite of that is. If it's like, okay, wait, if your triglycerides are high or low, is your HDL high or low? And we'll break it down. You guys stick around with us. This is Life with Jason Clemens, DC, and we'll be right back right after these messages. Hey, if you're late to the program tonight, just want to make sure we're going to get back into the anti-inflammatory stuff probably sometime before this segment's over. But I wanted to go through my blood work. I did my blood work on Saturday. I got the results back today. I just wanted to share all that with you. And so that's what we're doing tonight. And we're just going through that. And I'm just showing you what all my numbers are so that you can see that what I'm trying to teach is that there's a healthy way to live, there's a healthy way to eat, there's a healthy way to exercise. And if you'll do those things, what you'll get in return in the results is you'll get the results and your blood work will be right. And it's not rocket science. It's not complicated. You don't have to be rich. It doesn't have anything to do with being white, black, Mexican, whatever. It doesn't make any difference. It simply is saying, look, here's the things that a human being is supposed to eat. And if the human being eats these things, then the proof's in the pudding, as Jones and Associates says here in Lubbock. I don't want to steal his jingle or anything, but yeah, it's like it's real stuff. And there's no sense in taking medication for the results you got on your blood work that are the results of the habits that you have just because you don't want to live a healthier life. You can if you want. I mean, if you don't want to live a healthier life, then that's cool too, whatever. Like it's kind of jacked up for your family and all that stuff and all the people that could be counting on you, and you could make the world a better place, but if you don't want to, that's fine. Is that a good enough guilt trip on you right there? All right, hang on one sec. We'll get us back on the radio. Hey, everybody, we're back. This is Life with Jason Clemens, DC. We are breaking down blood work tonight. We're going to get into some pain management here in just a second, but I'm just trying to show you. I'm trying to show you how your blood work and your brain and your body all work together, and what you can do to make yours better. That's what we're trying to do tonight. So we're going through my blood work. So let's look back at it one more time and we'll just kind of see what are my HDLs. Where's my HDL? It's at 50. It has to be above 39. Why is the HDL higher? What's going on inside my body that's driving my HDLs up? Well, first of all, why my triglycerides are 41? Not you got to be less than 150. Your triglycerides are a result of refined carbohydrate damage to the blood vessel. It's a result of refined carbohydrate intake. It's like there's no question about that. Like if you're drinking Dr. Peppers, you're going to have a 200 and something triglyceride. If you're eating refined carbohydrates and you're drinking sugar and you're drinking your calories and you're eating all these donuts and all this stuff, then you're going to have high triglycerides because you got a bunch of holes in your blood vessel and you got to carry a bunch of LDL all around your blood, and so you're going to have this whole thing happening right there. But if you look at it and you say, okay, triglycerides are really low, what's that mean? We don't have any holes in my blood vessels. It's like we're not knocking holes in them. So we don't have to have very much LDL and we don't have to have very much triglycerides, and they're low and my HDLs are high. So on our little chart, it's the opposite. It's the opposite of what's going on there. So what is it? HDLs are high. LDL is down. Triglycerides are low. You could do the same thing. Stop eating refined carbohydrates. Stop eating refined carbohydrates. Stop eating food from a box. Stop looking at labels. Stop eating sugar. Stop eating white flour. Stop eating white bread. Stop eating wheat bread that's fake with molasses. Get away from that stuff, and you can control your cholesterol. You can, because if I'm selling you drugs, I'm going to tell you that it's your daddy's fault that you have high cholesterol. I'm going to tell you that it's your granddaddy's fault that you have high cholesterol, because your daddy ate refined carbohydrates and he had high cholesterol, and then you got high cholesterol because your daddy ate you ate refined carbohydrates, and so what happens? You buy that lie. You just buy right into it because nobody ever says anything different about it. So it's like, well, okay, that's pretty cool. I mean, it's pretty serious because my cousins are that way, and my uncles are that way, and my grandpa was that way. So I guess it just runs in our family. Just high cholesterol just runs in our family. And it's like, no, it doesn't. High cholesterol doesn't run in anybody's family. You might have like 1% of the population that has some sort of issue with that deal. I don't even know what the number is, but I just made that up myself right there. But there's a couple people, right? There's a couple of people that might have that problem, but not very many. Don't eat refined carbohydrates and watch. Take your fish oil. 3,000 to 5,000 milligrams every day, almost. There's days that I miss, but take your fish oil and stay away from sugars and white flour and refined carbohydrates and watch what happens to all that. You do not need a doctor for that. Your doctor doesn't have anything to do with that. Your doctor is not the one that saves you from that. You're the one that saves you from that. You don't need a doctor for type 2 diabetes. You don't need a doctor to control your type 2 diabetes. And if you're using metformin and your blood sugar is low, you're not controlling your type 2 diabetes. It's not truthful. It's not truthful. It's like saying, well, I can't see the dirty room if I turn out the lights. So there's no sense in making my bed and cleaning up the room because I'll just turn out the lights and then the room's not dirty. That's not real. It's like, dude, come on, right? So, all right, let's keep going. We're almost done with this. Risk ratio. There's the LDL-HDL ratio. It's got to be below 3.55, and it's at 2.42. Okay. Glucose, 98. All the rest of this stuff, sodium's 142. Carbon monoxide, 19. Carbon dioxide, 19. Calcium 8.9. In the range. Where do you get your calcium from? Your spinach leaves. There's a lot of talk around nowadays talking about how green vegetables have a bunch of oxalates that cause kidney stones. I hear that from super gurus on the internet all the time. They're trying to dog green vegetables and say that green vegetables are bad for you. Green vegetables, you know what the body uses to self-regulate the oxalates? Calcium. You know how it does that? When you eat your green leafy vegetables, the body absorbs the calcium from the green leafy vegetables and it balances that out. So don't buy into that. You want to know about living long? Watch the blue zones. Watch the people in Nicoya, Costa Rica. Watch the people in Okinawa. Watch the people in Cupertino. Look and see what they eat. That they're eating vegetables. Every single one of them is eating green vegetables. Mediterranean diets, green vegetables, all of it. Don't let anybody fool you about vegetables are not good for you. Green leafy vegetables are not good for you. They've been good for people since the beginning of people. Don't let them kid you on that. Okay? I don't agree with those people. They can say what they want to. This America, and they could get on just like I can. They could get on the internet and they can say anything they want to, but it's hogwash, in my opinion. It's hogwash. Your body will regulate itself. There is an innate intelligence. All right. Albumin 4.5, globulin 2.3. So my AG ratio 2.0, it's right there in the middle. Alk Phos is fine. That's my liver. That's my liver enzymes right there, 17 and 15. And they have to be between 9 and 50 and 5 and 50. So no issue. Here's another one. Here's a big one right here. And I actually have to thank Gary Brecka for this one. You guys might know Gary Brecka. I've listened to a lot of methylation lectures, and I've been to several of them. I've studied it myself. I just missed this for some reason. And I was listening to Gary Brecka talk about inflammation and high blood pressure and all that sort of thing. And he was talking about homocysteine levels. And he said that's the number one level you need to know. You need to know about your homocysteine level. And so one of the things he said is that if you got high homocysteine, which is something that I had last time, it was higher than what I thought it should be. I think it was like maybe 11. I'll look it up in just a second, but I think it was getting up there kind of, wait, I could do it right here. Hang on. I could do it right here, and I'll look it up because I meant to find out what it was last time. I got it right here. Homocysteine, 11.5. So when I did this when I got the results, I did this test 9/28 of 24. So last September, I did this test, and my homocysteine level was 11.5. And then I heard Gary talking about that, and he's like, if your homocysteine level is high, number one, you need to do the MTHFR gene, which I actually have one of those. I'm positive for the MTHFR and that's a specific gene mutation, and I have a mutation on the C1286A mutation. So you can look it up if you want to, but that MTHFR, it causes you to have a hard time getting your B vitamins and your homocysteine levels worked out through the pathway. You'll end up driving your homocysteine levels higher, which is inflammation in your body. And so what I did after I listened to Gary, he said, hey, you need to get a methylated B12. And I don't have it up here with me, but I switched it to our orthomolecular brand. Our orthomolecular brand has a methyl B12, and I started taking that methylated B12, and I take 2 of them a day, actually, and my homocysteine levels dropped from 11.5, because at 12, you got to be below 12 is the number. In September, it was 11.5, and just by making that one change right there, I went from 11.5 to 6. I was pretty excited about seeing that right there. So if you've got an issue with that, that's something you can check. You can check your MTHFR, see if you have an MTHFR mutation. You get a blood work done for that, and then if you do, then you can take a methylated. It means it's already through the pathway a little bit. It's helped. They already digested it a little bit for you, and then threw it in there, and then it helps your homocysteine levels, and it brought my homocysteine level down to 6. So I thought that was great. I was encouraged by seeing that, because that was something that was a little high last time. High sensitive CRP, that C-reactive protein, that's evidence if you have any sort of cardiac damage. If you're having any sort of tissue damage, you'll get an increased C-reactive protein. The number is 0.8. The levels, relative risk, you're low if you're below 1.0. You're low if you're under 1.0, and I'm at 0.8. So we're low on that one. Average is 1.0 to 3.0, and then anything above 3.0 is high. So didn't have any issue with that. And then DHEA sulfate 85 within normal limits. So the only thing that came out was this HDL, this calculated LDL cholesterol 121 was a little high, and it's type A. It's not a problem. So shouldn't be having a heart attack. Now I want to be very transparent. I'm dealing with some high blood pressure issues. I can't figure out why my blood pressure is high. It's climbing up. Some days it's 160 over 104. Like it's high. I don't know why. And so I'm working on my blood pressure. I've changed my caffeine numbers. I've stopped my stevia. That's one of the things that I was going to say last week. I've switched from, that sugar thing was the thing that was, that sugar taste. And I drink tea and I drink coffee in the mornings. And I think the reason I drank tea and coffee was to get the stevia, to get the sweetness. And I switched to stevia. And right now I'm in the process to see if the stevia might be causing my blood pressure, because I've read some research that maybe long-term stevia actually does that. And what it does is it interferes with cortisone to cortisol and back. So your body changes cortisol to cortisone, and it turns cortisone back to cortisol, and coming from the adrenal glands. And that stevia, long-term stevia use, according to this particular article that I read, might be causing some of that problem. So that's where I just quit. I quit the stevia. It's been a week and a half now since I've quit it. And my blood pressure hasn't changed. I'm still dealing with that high blood pressure. I'm still trying to figure out what that is. And I'm working through a couple things now that I got this blood work and everything it doesn't make any sense. I'm more fit right now than I've ever been since I was in college. I sleep. My sleeping has been a little bit disrupted with the blood pressure, but most of the time it's good. I'm functioning good. I have lots of energy. I'm going all day long. There's no reason that my blood pressure ought to be that high. Something else is going on. And here's my philosophy. It's not your philosophy. This is a complete editorial right here. I'm not giving you advice on this. I'm saying it for myself. I believe in innate intelligence. So I believe if my blood pressure is going up, that my innate intelligence is doing it. There's something that is interfering, or it's my brain trying to make sure that my brain is getting enough oxygen and glucose. There's some reason. There's a reason that my blood pressure is getting higher. Now we're going to find out, because the one thing about it is, I'm right here in front of the whole world. Right? I'm right here with you. You've got all my data. I just gave you all my blood work. I'm telling you what my blood pressure is, and I'm right here. So if my blood pressure blows my brains out and kills my kidneys, and then I'm dead, or I'm stroke out, or whatever I am, then you'll know you'll know right firsthand that what's going on. It's like something else is going on, right? I'm either right or I'm wrong. That's the way I feel about it. I'm either right or I'm wrong. I'm either right in saying that there is an innate intelligence, and that innate intelligence is a part of God inside my body. It's the spirit that runs my body, and that it's trying to tell me that I've got my body somewhere that in an environment that's incongruent with health. There is something in my either internal or external environment that is incongruent with health. Now, I can go call a doctor and I could go get a blood pressure medication and I could get my blood pressure down. And maybe that would be the prudent thing to do. Maybe that would be the genius thing to do. Maybe that would be the smart thing to do. And I'm not going to let it go too much longer because it's affecting me. But I, I want to know what it is that's causing my blood pressure to go up. I want to know what I am doing in my environment that's making that happen, because nothing in my blood work is out of normal. It's not my blood sugar. It's not my cholesterol. It's not my heart is not having an attack. My homocysteine levels are not high. There is nothing in that's saying, according to my blood work, that's saying that I should be that way. And my exercise is good, and my weight went up 20 pounds at the end of last summer, which it really ticks me off. We made a couple little bitty changes, and it just what I did is I ate too much fruit and honey at the end of last summer, and so it's coming down now. It's been 5 pounds in the last couple weeks, and we're headed downward. And my goal is to get back to where I was at the end of last summer, before this summer is over, and then be able to go into the fall again at the same and see if I can solve that problem. Because for 2 years in a row, it kind of came up just a little bit, and it's still heavier than I want to be. My weight is heavier than I want to be, but is it detrimental to my health? According to my numbers, it's not detrimental to my health. My health is pretty good. And I'm going to continue to follow with my eating plan. I'm going to continue to follow with my exercise plan. I'm going to continue to be as social as I can be. And I'm going to keep that whole process going. And I'm going to figure out what the heck is going on. I switched this morning. I started a new idea because I went and saw Dr. Fraley last year at the beginning of the year up in Ruidoso. He ran a bunch of stuff on me. And one of the things that he mentioned to me is that I might have a parasite. And I'm not familiar with that. I don't really know what that means. I don't really know what to do with that. And so he gave me some supplements, some wormwood complex that we have from Standard Process. I started that this morning. I took some more this evening. I'm going to do that for a few days. I've got some Zymex too that's being from Standard Process that we ordered today. That's part of that. I'm going to attack that. And then the other thing is, I don't know if there's something with COVID that might be involved. I have tried nicotine patches. I did that earlier in the year. I tried nicotine patches, and that made me sicker than a dog. I was in there in the bathroom throwing up because I used 21 grams or whatever, and I should have used like a fourth of that. And so that didn't help. I'm even considering ivermectin to see if that might help with something like that. So I'm working through it. And now the whole world knows all about it. You guys can know about it. I'm not worried about it. I'm not fretting about it. Leslie's not fretting about it. She knows what's going on. We're working on it. But I just think that if my A1C is high, I'm going to work on it and get it down. If my homocysteine level is high, I'm going to work on it and get it down. It's not high because of my genetics. It's high because of my environment. Y'all get that? I believe that to be 100% true. Put the cell in an environment that's congruent with health, and the cell will express health. That's a true statement. All right, that's enough. That's all of it right there. That's the whole blood deal. You can go back anytime you want to, and you can watch this. After a while on Facebook, they're getting to where they kick these. They only let you have it on there for 30 days or something like that, and then they kick all the videos off. So YouTube doesn't do that. All the videos are staying on YouTube. So if you want to go back, if you lose it on Facebook, then you can go back and get it on YouTube from there. So, all right, we got a couple minutes. before we get going, before we're done tonight. So let's get back into our article that we were talking about last night. And now, one of the things that I think is really cool about this learning process is that when you do something like this and you break your blood work down, and then you talk about all the different parts of it, and you make sure that each part of it is proper. Like you understand why your A1C is high or low, or you understand what's going on with your triglycerides or your LDL. Once you do that, and then you come back and you start talking about an article like this, because this is the article we talked about last night, and it was natural anti-inflammatory agents for pain relief. Surgical Neurological International, December 2010, a group of people from University of Pittsburgh and Vanderbilt University, and they talk about now they're talking about the side effects of steroid drugs, and then they're talking about this inflammation has two primary causes. Remember, and it's like it's inflammation that you are derived from omega-6 fatty acids and arachidonic acid. Those are things that show up on your blood. Those are things that when you measure those things, it's like, man, I've got inflammation inside my body. But if those numbers are low, then you understand that you are controlling those things. I am controlling the PGE2, even though I eat the red meat. I'm still convinced that red meat is given a bad rap. I think the red meat that eats the grass is fine to eat. Personally, I think the red meat that eats the corn is not fine to eat. It'll make you sick. Now, if you do a study on people that eat red meat that eats corn, then I think what you'll find out is that there's some trends that go in that direction. But if you look at the red meat from grass, I don't think you see those same trends. So when we go back through here and we say, okay, look, here's the cytokines, here's the omegas. That's what we went through last night. You can go back and watch the show from last night. I'm not going to repeat that. But it was giving us some these prostaglandins. Remember, they act as short-lived localized hormones that could be released. Remember, that's what we said last night. The NSAIDs can delay muscle regeneration and may reduce ligament, tendon, and cartilage healing. How many times you take a Tylenol because you finished a basketball game and then you got sore muscles? How many of our kids? How many of our football players at Texas Tech? It was just rampant. It was just you finish a practice, go take a Tylenol or an aspirin. We did that all the time back in the day. NSAIDs can delay muscle regeneration. Why would you do that? Why would you delay muscle regeneration if you were trying to perform at a high level? That makes no sense. Why would you do it if you weren't trying to perform at a high level? Right? Okay, so we went through omega-3s last night. We went through white willow bark last night. We went through turmeric, which is curcumin, which is turmeric. We went through that last night. We went through green tea last night. I don't know how to say this. PYCNO, looks like pycnogenol. Maritime pine bark. We went through that one last night, and we got to Boswellia. So that's where we are tonight, is Boswellia serrata resin, frankincense. Boswellia possesses anti-inflammatory, anti-arthritic, and analgesic properties. It can inhibit leukotriene biosynthesis, thus affecting various inflammatory diseases that are perpetrated by leukotrienes. In the process, what we talked about last night, when we take the arachidonic acid, carrying the arachidonic acid to the PGE2 using the COX enzymes, we get the PGE2. If we use the LOX enzymes, if we block the COX enzymes and we use the LOX enzymes, what ends up happening is we get leukotrienes. And I'll show it to you. We got it down here on the bottom. Okay, so cell membrane trauma or injury, there you go, arachidonic acid. Arachidonic acid is released from the cell membrane on trauma or injury. And then it's going to be brought down with a COX enzyme to a prostaglandin, or it's going to be brought down through a LOX enzyme to a leukotriene. It's the metabolic pathway of that That's what happens. You sprain your ankle, you release the arachidonic acid. The arachidonic acid uses these two little enzymes and it creates inflammation in your ankle. That's what is supposed to happen. Now, when you eat too much of the arachidonic acid, or which comes from meat, so you got to make sure that you're balancing that with your omega-3s, and you got to make sure that your omega-3s are what is giving you that balance. Then those are that could, otherwise you're going to end up with inflammation. That's what it's saying right here with Boswellia, is that it is clinically, Boswellia is used in the treatment of degenerative and inflammatory joints. It inhibits leukotriene biosynthesis, so it decreases that level of inflammation. A combination of Boswellia and curcumin showed superior efficacy and tolerability compared with nonsteroidal diclofenac for treating active osteoarthritis. You can treat osteoarthritis with Boswellia and curcumin or turmeric, and it'll help you out. Hey, we're out of time tonight. I hope that was interesting. I hope it was helpful. We'll pick it up right there again tomorrow night at 6. Thanks for listening to the show. If there's anything I can do to help you, please let me know. And I will. I'll be back at 6. You guys take care. So I got a question right here. Could a demonic attack be causing high blood pressure? I don't know, Isabel. That's an interesting question. I got some angels watching out for me, so I don't know about that. But you might know more about that than I do. So I don't know. Could it be true? I don't know. Maybe it could be. They try to disrupt, try to do something good, and they try to disrupt you. I know that's what Satan's all about. He's trying to disrupt you. So maybe so, and maybe not. But he knows where I'm at. So, and I'm not scared of him. So we'll see what happens. I hope you